Good morning, Jai Shri Krishna Guru. Thank you for joining Sri Guru Charitra Parayan. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend. Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha, Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha, Om Shri Saraswataya Namaha, Om Shri Guru Dattatre Namaha, Om Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha, Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Guru Charitra Parayan. Today we'll begin with a new chapter, that is chapter 25, Pride of the Foolish Pandits. This chapter describes how two boastful Brahmins who, so to say, were trading in the Vedas were brought by Trivikrama Bharati before Guru Nath. This chapter commences the Karma Kand section of Sri Guru Charitra. Namdarak was rapturously listening to the glorious narration of Guru Leelas being narrated by Siddhamuni, the blessed disciple of Guru Nath. Siddhamuni continued his narrative as under. There was a Muslim Nawab ruling Vidurnagar at that time. He had no respect or tolerance for Hindu religion. He used to tempt Brahmins to come to his court by offering money and gifts and make them recite the Vedas and explain the meaning. Public recital of the Vedas before anybody and everybody, and especially before the non-believers and who have no reverence, is against Vedic injunctions. After making them recite and explain, he used to ignore the deeper and more sublime meanings of the words and drawing perverse and distorted meanings of the Vedic words and hymns. He used to taunt the Brahmins, deride the Hindu religion and gloat over it. Oh my God. Okay, so what is this about? This chapter is about pride of the foolish Pandits. I think this title itself explains what is this chapter all going to be about. See, one of the most dangerous thing to have on the path of spirituality is the ego of knowledge. The arrogance of knowledge, that I am some great scholar, I am the learned Pandit and I know Vedas and Shastras by heart. This is the most dangerous on the path of the spiritual. And please remember, that is why the learned Brahmins and the Pandits or the scholars are not spiritual beings. They are only, they are just that parrot which recites the Vedas. See, if you tell the parrot to repeat something, it will exactly repeat what you ask the parrot to say. Now, similarly, these Pandits are scholarly people. Now, what they do, they by heart Vedas. See, some people have the ability to by heart the Vedas and Shastras and just rattle off. They literally prattle. They literally, just like a parrot, they'll keep reciting the same thing without understanding the sublime and the subtle and the profound meaning behind the Vedas. The truth is never understood by these egoistic and arrogant people. See, because knowledge can bring you ego, tremendous amount of ego. See, in fact, if you remember, we did a very beautiful story about Ravana, the Gokarna, how the Atmalinga is, which Ravana got through his deceit, his mind's deceit. Because of what? The knowledge. Even Ravana, though being the demon, had mastered the Vedas and Shastras. And through his deceit of knowledge, he was able to win the Atmalinga from Shivji. And what happened? Destruction happens. Please remember, people who have the knowledge and use for a deceitful purpose, their downfall is already written. You can understand, okay, this person is definitely going to have his fall. No, you need to know the truth. With knowledge, you have to get humility. You have to become humble. You cannot demonstrate the power of knowledge that you have. See, because knowledge is universal. And Vedas is the God himself. That is why we say Lord Shri Krishna, from whom the Vedas have emanated. The Vedanga, we say. The Vedas are the Anga. Anga means are the portions of Lord Shri Krishna. When you are able to decode the truth, you will understand who this divine being is. See, yet you can't understand him in his entirety. That is why it is said, even the Vedas and Shastras fail to describe the divine Lord Almighty adequately. Even they fail to describe him. So nobody can understand him. So how can you make a show of the power of your knowledge? And that is true. Vedas are imparted so that you understand the spiritual truth and use that knowledge to overcome your mind, senses, ego, arrogance, all the tendencies, and attain God realization. That is why this knowledge is imparted, not to make a show of it. When you make a show of it, you will incur a great sin, because it is Ma Saraswati, it is the goddess of knowledge, it is the Lord Almighty from whom the knowledge is, emanated. So how can you make a show of this knowledge? This knowledge is not to make show. And please remember, the Muslim Nawab is, making this Brahmins do this public recital. What is he enticing them with? Greed? That's the money, the power of greed. No, you cannot do something like this. It is adharma. See, no religion teaches anybody to insult or talk ill about another religion. At the end of the day, all religion leads to one divine alone, that is God Almighty. You can call him Allah, I will call him Krishna, somebody will call him Jesus, and somebody will call him Buddha. We are here to respect every God. God is universal. Please remember, there is no God higher and no God lesser. There is only one supreme divine consciousness. And for me, it is my Lord Almighty, Sri Krishna. To somebody it is Father in the heaven. To someone it is Buddha, and to somebody it is Allah. That is why Baba will always say, Sai Baba used to say, Allah Malik. He's the father of this entire universe. He is the one who owns this universe. Why are we trying to, instigate another religion or talk ill about another religion? Nobody has taught this. Vedas and Shastras has never ever taught something to us like that. So we have to live and let live and respect everybody in this world. Everybody is going through their own path. See, what is palatable to you might not be palatable to me. But that doesn't mean that I am greater or you are lesser. Or you are greater or I am lesser. It's not like that at all. So here what the king is doing is definitely against the adharma. And see, most important, Lord Shri Krishna in Bhagavad Gita has very, very clearly explained, you cannot, discuss the most profound knowledge about the Vedas and Shastras to the non-believers, to somebody who has doubted me, to somebody who doesn't believe in this truth. So what was the Muslim Nawab doing? He was trying to make a show of this, and he was then using that, like the actual word which he thinks he understands, and he's trying to deride. It's not correct. See, no matter what religion it is, whatever it is, somebody else cannot come and do the same thing to your knowledge, right? Would you all tolerate? No. So why should we do to some other religion or something just because we don't like something? See, if you don't like it, you can stay away. But don't have to do this, because you don't understand what kind of sin and karma you are incurring. So never do these kind of things. We are not here to derogate any religion. Please remember, at the end of the day, everything is the creation of the divine Lord Almighty. We are all his creation. There is only one religion, and that is humankind. It is the religion of love. It is the religion of goodness. That is the true religion that we need to follow. It is not about your God is greater than my God. No. To each one, see, God is to each his own. So we need to respect that. Yes, for me, my Lord Shri Krishna is the highest. So, but that doesn't mean I will not go to a church, or I will not go to a Buddhist temple, or I will not go to even a mosque. I respect. For me, every God is as equal to me as like my Lord Shri Krishna. Of course, because every religion is only leading to that one alone. So why not live and let live? Never deride anybody. Never say anything wrong about another people's religion. We are here to live in harmony. So this is a great sin which is committed. Why is this anecdote or this Leela being explained? So that we understand there are multiple lessons which Narasimha Saraswati is going to impart to us. And let us slowly unravel. But the first most important is, with knowledge, you can get pride and you can become haughty and arrogant. And never demonstrate or make a show of how great a scholar you are, how much knowledge you hold. And please remember, the day you do this, your fall is imminent. Anybody in this world. And why do you think this entire universe, if you see any great leader or anybody, is only there for a period of time? See, one who rises to the power also have to come down. That position is not permanent. But if you need to make it permanent, then you have to become some great being where you're not motivated with what you're making out of it. It is about, the knowledge is to establish dharma, the knowledge is to have your own God realization, to conquer your own self, to overcome all your tendencies, nature, mind, senses, you name all the Shadripus, everything. That is why the knowledge is given. And the most important is to understand the truth, what is real and what is unreal, and to serve this universe selflessly. When the position, that power is given to you, you are here to serve this world. That power and position is not just coming to you. God has been kind to you. Remember, Baba says, wealth is to establish dharma, not for bringing adharma on this planet earth. On the contrary, it is to remove the adharma and establish dharma. Dharma means the path of righteousness. It is to teach people the way of life. It is to tell them how important it is to be your good self. See, this is not talking about a good virtue, no matter who does it. And even what are we talking about in this? The second aspect is about greed. What is the Nawab enticing these Pandits? He is talking about greed. What happens when greed comes? Then you're going to fall prey to that. So what happens to all that knowledge that you have learned? See, that is why, or it is said, only God can explain you who God is. Only God can teach you the truth behind who God is. No human beings can. So if you know, these Pandits have only mugged, like a, they say in Hindi, ratta maar ke, you just mug and then go and vomit over there. Exactly, ad verbatim. You read it, you memorize, and then you go and write that. But that's not knowledge. That people have the skill to do it. That doesn't require any special qualities to have that knowledge. So don't do this. This is not right. And now let us understand what Narasimha Saraswati is going to teach us here. After making them recite and explain, he used to ignore and the deeper and more sublime meaning of the words, and drawing perverse and distorted meanings of the Vedic words and hymns, he used to taunt the Brahmin, deride the Hindu religion and gloat over it. See, this is not right. So never do something like this. Here we are learning what we should not do and how it is important to respect everybody, and and we need to live in harmony. And most important, live and let live. But most of the Brahmins never used to come forward. However, much the Nawab tempted and pressed them. Veda is our mother. It is profound. It is divine. How can any self-respecting person bear the sacred text being taunted by shallow-minded persons? Absolutely. Never get into these kind of things. Even if somebody is enticing you with wealth, greed, whatever, name, fame, position, please don't fall prey to such things, and never even get into such things, because then Veda is our mother. You are going to insult her. You are going to get her curse. Please remember, nobody can escape such adharma. This is not right thing to do, because we have never been asked to disrespect any god or any religion. This is what our teachings have been. This is what our Sanatan Dharma teaches. Sanatan Dharma means we are brotherhood. It's about, being friendly with everybody. It's about love. We have to love every being. We accept everyone in our world. We are not biased people. This is what our Dharma teaches. There is no religion. See, religion is only there so that you can follow, a path, so that you can live a righteous life and attain the divine nature, whatever, become the divine or attain devotion to the divine, which is your belief and faith. But please remember, in spirituality, we are not biased with anyone, because every religion is only reaching that God alone. But spiritual is far greater than that, because in spiritual, we are not biased about any religion. We only learn that I am not this body, I am that spirit, I am the divine being. We learn to overcome our mind, body, ego, senses, everything that is pulling us down. We empower the God within ourselves. That is why that realization is called God realization or self-realization, which is possible only through the grace of the Guru. The Guru teaches you. Guru is the doorway to God. This is something you really need to understand. So spiritual is not biased. In spiritual, we accept everything. We don't say something is great, something is lesser. Everything is equal because everything is the creation of this divine Lord Almighty. So that is why in spirituality, we are taught how to have equanimity of mind. There are no likes and dislikes, and there is no biases. Everybody is perfect in their place. It's a creation of the God. Who are we to say something is right and something is wrong? We are nobody. So we are not here to judge anyone, but we are here to empower and become a divine being, a good human being, a sattvic human being. That is what our spirituality teaches us. So, however, there were two Brahmins who came forward to be used as pawns in the hands of the Nawab. No doubt, they were very scholarly persons. They knew the Vedas by rote. That's what I said, no, rote. You kind of memorize. It's a rote learning. And because they will not have an iota of knowledge or understanding what the Vedas is talking about, but just because they have that skill to by heart and it's like a rote learning, they will be able to just go and rattle it off. They knew the Vedas by rote, but had not imbibed even a grain of true wisdom from the Vedic study. So what use is it any study? You know, my Krishna Guruji will teach us something very profound. Example, I am a commerce graduate. So I've done BCom, and in that I've done business management, I've done accountancy, so many different subjects. Now my Krishna Guruji says, what you have studied, you don't even understand the depth of the subject. You don't even know, you don't even apply the knowledge learned. So what use is those degree when you have learned and you're not applying it in your day-to-day life? And this was a hard-hitting lesson. See, the reason why we have studied or got educated is because we need to get a good job. We want to pursue our higher studies, and then we want to then get happily married off. Or we want to earn a handsome salary, or we want to get a job abroad, whatever the desires might be. The purpose, the goal of education is that. But we have never got educated because we want to understand. We want to learn what is the subject all about. We have never gone deeper in understanding that the depth of the subject. He'll say accountancy, you don't know A of accounts. And he'll say you don't know how to do a basic bookkeeping. Why? Because I've never applied what I've learned. Yeah, the reason I've studied all that is because I need to get a first class. Never studied because that with the passion that I want to learn. This is what is missing in us. And today 99.99% of the people in this world, they don't study for this reason. Why do they get educated? Why do they want a foreign degree? Why? Because my Krishna Guruji will say any foreign degree is a piece of paper which is equivalent to, I can just chuck it and throw it in a dustbin. It has no value. The value is only, it is going to get you, a job probably in the topmost companies. Okay, I'm working for a McKinsey, I'm working for a PwC, I'm working for IBM, I'm working for Intel, whatever the companies you want or wherever you want to. I'm working for United Nations. But what use is the degree? Are you really doing service? My Krishna Guruji will say you're a chaprasi in that company. You know what chaprasi mean? You're a servant. Because you're not a boss, you're not leading something. At the end of the day, you're still a doormat in some organization. You're using that knowledge to, grow that company. But where have you yourself grown? What is that you have done for yourself? Have you studied to develop your knowledge? Even yesterday, some of my Guruji's disciples were here and he was just giving them this very beautiful understanding. See, it is not about you making your company great. Yes, you have to be very good at your job, no doubts about it. See, your company is paying. You need to be extremely good in the value you give back to your company for what you are being paid. And the next most important thing is, are you even giving the same value worth for yourself? See, if you're not going to get educated yourself, study and keep, learning and building your own knowledge, how are you going to contribute to the growth of the company as well and to yourself? So we have never got educated. We don't, use the God-given potentials that we have. We have all been given some very beautiful strength, qualities. We always think, oh, I want to be someone else. Why are you looking at trying to live somebody else's life? First, look at yourself. Empower the God within you. Become the best version of yourself and make something out of your life where the world will know you. They will come to you. That is what means education. Education doesn't mean having a master degree, a PhD degree or a whatever graduate. Yeah, they are all just a criteria in the material world, because you have to get a job, you have to get, you want to go for a higher studies, there is certain requirements, you have to qualify and you have to fulfill those requirements, and then that is when you're going to get admitted into that college. But otherwise, what is that you're getting educated for? Ask this question for yourself. You need to understand why you're studying. What is the purpose of your education? How are you going to use that knowledge, that you're learning today? Are you going to use it for the good of humankind, or for doing something in this world, or just to make money? And how much millions and billions are you going to make? You can only make so much, and then what happens to your life? Have you even achieved anything out of your life? No. So that is why my Krishna Guruji will say, when we are working in some company, if we don't constantly give value to the company, then what is the justice that I have done and to myself? So we are nothing but doing clerical job, but you're not a leader. You're not a leader material. So you have to become a leader material. How do you become that? First, empower. Take initiative. Go get educated. The education word itself is not understood. We are still, studying 200 years old, whatever the curriculum that has been defined. But who has defined? Is it value today? Is it even applied? Whatever you're studying, is it applicable in today's day and age? No. We are evolving so fast ahead that, oh my God, the kind of transformation that is happening in the world of technology, in the world how the whole, the ecosystem is changing. The entire universe is undergoing a tremendous transformation. And are you ready for it? See, the universe, the Lord's nature does its work in the most perfect manner. But are you geared up to that? See, pandemic, we never expected a lot of things to happen. It was unprecedented. But what happened? There were people who used that to build their, their empire, to make money. But there were people who also suffered the most. They lost job, they couldn't do anything. But look, everything happens for the good alone. That whole transformation has taught everybody something. That there is nothing that you can change. No money can buy that health. No money can give you that medicine. If the universe tries to put something and disrupt, you are not going to like it. So why we disrupt the universe? We have to work in tandem with this universe, with the nature. So why not, use the knowledge to do something good in this world, not to just live a selfish life. I, me, myself is never the case. Why are we getting educated? Why are we studying? So that we can teach and impart the same knowledge, not just to our kids, to the future generation. See, most important thing, once my Krishna Guruji was talking to a mother, one of his disciples, she was having a question. She said, I'm unable to keep up with my 7-year-old son. And he says, Mama, you don't know this, you don't know that. So my Krishna Guruji said, yeah, what he's saying is right. But if you say, oh, today I don't know what my child is talking, then how are you going to teach him? How are you going to make him your best friend? First, you need to be ahead of what is happening in the world. If the 7-year-old is talking some advanced things, you as a mother should be more knowledgeable, and you should be able to have a conversation with this child. So if you're not going to keep yourself abreast of everything that is happening, then how are you going to tell what is right and wrong to your kids? How are you going to give the knowledge? So first, as a parent also, it's very important for you to, set an example. You have to become a role model for your children. See, in our Krishna ashram, my Guruji is our role model. He's the knowledge almighty. There is no knowledge in this world that he doesn't know. And every single day he'll say, did you read this? Did you know this is happening? We feel ashamed because we are not keeping up to that mark. Today, my Guru Ma, my Krishna Ma is ahead of us, ahead of all his children. And he keeps giving them that knowledge. But are we there? No, we are not there. We need to make that self-effort to learn, to understand. So knowledge is only for this purpose. It is not to demonstrate the power that we have. So please remember, anybody with a haughtiness or pride or egoistic behavior and displaying the power of their knowledge or how great they are, their fall is for sure. I've seen in my 20 years of my career, I've come across a lot of different leaders. There are very few leaders, very handful of them, who always show that humility. The greatest of the leaders will demonstrate this quality. They'll never make a display of their power and knowledge. On the contrary, they will be very welcoming. They'll be most happy to teach. But the ones who are like this false pride of the Pandits, those kind of leaders, they are only there for a short time, and till that, like my Krishna Guruji says, they are there because they have their karma, some good karma, and they have been given that position. Once the karma is over, then somebody else will take over. That's it. Your lifespan is very short, but to be great and for the world to remember, like Steve Jobs, everybody remembers. Why? Because he created or he gave this world what nobody could imagine. That, like I keep telling when I give talks to the students or to anybody, who is a innovator? An innovator is a visionary. He is able to vision his vision, somebody who can innovate or think beyond his own lifespan. So what Steve Jobs created is not just when he existed. Even today, the product and technology we use today, Apple phone is the #1 in this world. Nobody, you can't beat the Apple products. I'm a brand ambassador to Apple now. Anyway, coming back. So he created and he gave the world beyond his own lifespan. So we will continue using. He's dead and gone, but everybody remembers him. Why? He created that phenomenal project. So sorry, the product. That is what you have to do. You have to give this world something that the world doesn't even know, and it has to be inclusive. It is not exclusive. So we have to include everybody. We have to take everyone along with us in the journey. It's not just I, me, myself. Knowledge is given so that you can teach others. You can empower them. You can enable them for them to be successful in their life too. So my Krishna Guruji will teach us continuously. So it's for us, it is very difficult to keep up to his speed. Why? Because his ability to read, his ability to do things are phenomenal. It is beyond the human power, I can say. But yes, he uses the body to do that. He doesn't use any power. He doesn't even use one bit of his divine power. And he'll show how, as a human being, how we need to empower ourselves, how we have to work really hard. He gave me a very interesting example. Last week, every morning, it's very important that we do our exercise, whatever the time is meant for exercise. You go for your walk, you go for your run, whatever that you plan. And suddenly last week, I had some pain in my leg. I wasn't able to go. And I'm like, my mind's like, no, you can't run, and you can't walk. It's hurting a lot. So I didn't go for 2 days. And then my Krishna Guruji said, you know what? When you don't go at that particular time, you're letting your mind take over you, which means you're becoming an ordinary human being. But when you push yourself through that pain and you can go ahead and show your mind, no, you're capable, you have that power, you are able to do. And you know what he says? Okay, you might have your leg pain, but in that leg pain, you instead of walking say 40 minutes, whatever the distance, you can walk in 30 minutes. In the sense, you can cut that distance and still walk for 30 minutes. There's no harm. You're only going to walk slowly, but you might not be able to cover the number of kilometers, but you're still walking. So the most important point is, even if you have pain, you still have to go do. The doing is a must. You cannot stop. If you relax even for a day, you will become complacent. And this is what happens to us human beings. So even in that pain, you have to strive, put your effort to go and walk. Your mind is going to tell you, no, I can't. It is you who have to make your mind, you have to overcome your mind, and then your body will push itself. It is possible. And that is what I learned. Okay, today, like the same thing happened again today. My mind is like, no, I can't go. It's paining. But I said, no, I have to go. And then after I went, yes, I was not able to cover that entire distance that I want to walk. But yes, I did cover that number of whatever the minutes I want to walk. And then I told my Krishna Guruji, yes, what you're saying is right. He says, the same thing goes for everything. Whether you have to write something, whether you have to do something, you have to keep pushing. That consistency is what you have to get to. And that is about becoming disciplined in your life. So these are the things when you yourself do, then the world will look at you and do. So imagine each parent demonstrate this in their family, their kids also will become like that. So that is why you are a role model for your kids. So don't fight in front of them. Don't say things, because look, they're watching and learning. They are young mind. They are like a clay. And this is the right age for you to mold them. So what kind of example you want to set up? This is exactly the question my Krishna Guruji will ask. He'll tell me, if you don't do certain things, what is the example you're going to set for this world? Then how will the world be? So it all depends on you. So you have to do this. Similarly, my Krishna Guruji, he's a perfect being. There is not a one iota of a dot of flaw in him. That kind of perfection can only be attained by God. So he says, so empower the God within you. You have the powers with you. Why are you not doing it? This is the truth. So with that, the knowledge is only for you to become humble, for you to know the truth and to become the best version of yourself, not to use it for any selfish purpose or display of power, ego or arrogance. Please remember, anybody who does this, the fall is imminent. The true Brahmin Pandits impressed upon the Nawab that there was none in the land who had knowledge more than them. They said that the Nawab should arrange for a debate in scriptural and Vedic subjects in his court, and that they would be able to defeat anyone and establish the supremacy and superiority of their scholarship and knowledge over all others. This is not right at all. And never degrade anybody or never say somebody is great. See, everybody has been given that which they have to know. God has planned their life very perfectly. We are nobody to try to, deride someone, talk derogatively about somebody or display of a knowledge or tell, oh, that person doesn't even have a knowledge. We are not here to do that. Everybody is perfect in their places. Everybody is given one special quality for whom they are known for. It is for each one of us to empower ourselves and become the best version. Why are we giving negatives? Oh, I don't know this. Like yesterday also, my Krishna Guruji was teaching to, he'll teach all his disciples, and he was specifically saying to someone, why are you deriding? If you know something, why are you, before even trying, saying, I don't know? The word I don't know is what we have to remove from our life. Go try. Worst thing, what can happen? You might fail. That's okay. Get up and run. Try something else. At least you have tried. You have understood, okay, this doesn't, I might not be able to do this, but I can get somebody who can do that for me. At least you have arrived at that conclusion. So go try. There is no harm in exploring. 2 years back, my Krishna Guruji was giving me certain understanding about what I can do in my life, how I can build my own, some knowledge that I wanted to gain. And I was like, no, I can't do this because I've never done, I don't like facing camera. I'm not going to be able to speak in front of the camera. All these things were, going in my mind, and I rattled off everything. Everything is negative. I've already shut the door for myself, saying it's impossible, I cannot do, I can't do, I don't have the strength. But my Krishna Gurujis, have you even tried? The first most important question. Have you even, tried to even say all that? Who is telling you? The mind. Who doesn't want to do? The mind. Who is not allowing you to do? Your mind. Because the mind never wants you to rise in your life. See, the most important thing you need to understand is you have to befriend your mind. So how do you befriend him? When you empower yourself. That is why we say, hand over the reins of that mind to the divine Lord Almighty, who is the charioteer, who is within you, driving you. Why are you using your mind to tell whether something is possible or something is not possible? It is not for you to judge till you haven't tried. And then a year passed by. Somehow last entire year I realized I gave a lot of talks. Yes, sometimes I might have not spoken very well. My articulation might not have been well, or my diction wouldn't have been perfect. But I made an effort to do that. It is my Guruji's grace. The words are of his wisdom alone. I am not a capable being. I should say this. But it is about you make that effort. Then things will work out. The more you practice, the better you become. So what is more important? Yes, you're going to make mistakes. It is okay to make mistakes, but get up and run. Next time you will learn to speak in a better manner, or till you perfect the art of speaking or articulating well and having the right diction. And this is exactly what I did. And then this fear about facing the camera, I was able to overcome. Today I'm not afraid to face a camera. I am able to speak. And then he put me to saying, okay, now you have to give satsangs. My first few satsangs, if you go see in Sai Baba, the Sai Sat Charitra, I was quite nervous. I was afraid. I was like, how can I teach? Or how can I expound? Because I'm not knowing. I don't know this. And why are you telling me to do this live? So I was feeling inadequate. I was thinking that I have a lot of inadequacies in my own life. I felt incapable. So how do you empower? How do you become capable? Has God not given me the strength? Of course He's given me the knowledge, the potentials, everything. I have to perfect. Perfection comes with practice and sadhana. So we have to do this. It is okay to make mistakes. Like my Krishna Guruji will say, okay, today you didn't say this correctly, or you made a mistake here, or you spoke quite fast. You have to slow down. You have to, give those pauses. So he teaches me like this. But till I don't make this effort and do it, how am I going to learn? Similar goes for everybody. So you have to make this effort. But see, knowledge or anything is not to, again I'm saying, never let the ego of knowledge come into you, or the arrogance, and never use your knowledge for selfish purpose where you're going to make money and and become very greedy in this world. No, wealth is to establish dharma. What has to come to you will come, but always give back to this world. The wealth is not given so that you become greedy, you get lost in the lust and greed. The wealth is given so that you can do good in this world and you can establish dharma. That is the only reason why the wealth is coming to you, and the knowledge is coming so that we can overcome this mind, body, senses, ego, arrogance, everything, and not to demonstrate the mind, body, senses and saying I am the greatest, I am the mightiest, I am the most knowledgeable. I know. That I know will destroy your life. But none of the Pandits agreed to come to the Nawab's court for the contest, because the Vedic subjects were sacred, are sacred, and are meant for pathana, that is chanting and contemplation. What is it meant for? Chanting and contemplation. We are only to evolve in our path of bhakti and to contemplate. Knowledge is given by with the sword of knowledge. You cut asunder the ignorance, and then you discard that knowledge and you go with absolute humility and humbleness to attain devotion. So not to make a show of it, and not for vada, that is acrimonious debates. Not for vada. Vada is debates, acrimonious debates. How can you go and debate over knowledge and make a show of it? That's not right. That is a sin. The Pandits said they would go out into the country and seek out contests in different villages and towns. If anyone ever dared to contest against them, they were confident to defeat him. And in case nobody came forward, that meant an open acknowledgement by all of the two Pandits' supremacy, and therefore the ruler should recognize it and honor them befittingly. The Nawab encouraged them in this only with the object of enjoying watching of the Pandits disputing amongst themselves acrimoniously. This is not correct. We are having our own selfish purpose, having fun at somebody else's cost, and those somebody else are not understanding this Nawab's intention. They are stupid beings who are trying to do this. You can't do like this. So this is what is being taught here. And another very important lesson, please understand the other people's intent, why sometimes some people encourage you to do certain things, and don't fall prey to that. And that is called greed. What is the Nawab enticing them with? The position, the power and money? No, that's not correct. So don't use that God-given knowledge for destroying your own self and this world. The God-given knowledge is only for the good. You have to use for the good purpose. The knowledge is there so that you can do something good in this world, not for your own selfish benefits. Please remember. And when there is such adharma prevailing, the fall is imminent. Lord will manifest right there and destroy you. So be very careful. Don't challenge the divine. The Pandits set out on their challenging campaign, puffed with pride of the patronage and backing of the Yavan ruler. They came to Kumasi, and they were told that Trivikrama Bharati was the most scholarly Pandit of the area, and if he was defeated, it would establish their unchallengeability. When the Pandits proposed to Trivikrama Bharati that he should enter into contest against them, the latter declined, saying it did not befit him, a renunciate and a sannyasi, to enter into discussion and debates for winning name and fame. The Pandit said if he did not want to contest against them, he should acknowledge them as unchallengeable and should accede Jaya Patra to them. What kind of stupidity is this? Imagine. And you remember last chapter on Trivikrama Bharati, when he said, he insulted Gurudev, or when he spoke badly about Gurudev, and then he got his own understanding, and now he has become the ardent devotee of Sri Narasimha Saraswati Deva, and his Guru Nath is the highest form of knowledge. And now you can watch the fun, what's going to happen. And Trivikrama Bharati himself is now the disciple of Sri Narasimha Saraswati. The Pandit said, okay, that's done. Trivikrama Bharati saw their conceit and ambition and thought they should be taught a fitting lesson. So what does he do? He will now lead them to Gurudev. He took them to Sri Narasimha Saraswati at Gangapur. As soon as they entered into the presence of Guru Nath, Trivikrama Bharati fell down prostrate to Guru Nath's feet, offering his obeisance. The Pandits, however, did not show any respect, and they showed off their pride and arrogance. You can't come in front of a divine master and demonstrate the show of your pride and arrogance. Please remember, the Guru Nath will never ask that, saying, oh, you touch my feet, you bow my feet, or you have to acknowledge me that I'm the greatest. The God will never say, I'm God. Please, you need to understand. They will never even demonstrate the show of their power or knowledge or anything. They are not here to display their, who they are. On the contrary, they are here only to impart the truth only to the spiritually deserving, not everybody. And like I said, to remove all these evil propensities, evil people like them, all these evil people with such evil misdemeanors will be taught a lesson. And who teaches? The universe itself. When the time is right, all these things will be put in place. So the divine masters remove these evil propensities around who are troubling their devotees and disciples. Never do that. People with power and haughtiness will try to do all of this. They'll do a lot of adharma and disturb the harmony, or just the people who are wanting to be on the path of spiritual, or just being for themselves. They don't like, they don't believe in living and let living. They just want to create unnecessary trouble because they just can't keep quiet. So this is exactly when the divine Lord Almighty works, his universe works. He works magic out there. He himself will not do anything, but his universe around him will do everything. So be very careful. Never play with your divine master. He might appear absolutely ordinary and he's not going to do anything, but his universe, she's always there around him. His Ashtasiddhis are saying Tatastu. His universe will give you such a tight slap that you don't know what hit you, and the fall that you will have, you will never be able to get up from there. So don't do that. He took them to Sri Narasimha Saraswati at Gangapur. As soon as they entered into the presence of Guru Nath, Trivikrama Bharati fell down prostrate at Guru Nath's feet, offering his obeisance. The Pandits, however, did not show any respect, and they showed off their pride and arrogance. Sri Narasimha Saraswati inquired as if he was not aware of what had brought them to him. Absolutely. The God, he's knowledge almighty. He's God himself. You think he doesn't know why they have come and what is going on? Of course, he's all knowing. Like even in my Krishna Guruji's case, he's all knowing, but he will want to hear from the horse's mouth always. So he'll say, yeah, tell me. But he knows why someone comes, what they want, what is there in their mind, what is going on. He understands everything, but he's never going to go and study your mind or do something about it. But he'll say, he'll let you speak up exactly what Guru Nath is doing here. Trivikrama Bharati narrated about the campaign on which the Pandits had set out. The Pandits demanded that Sri Narasimha Saraswati should enter into a debate with them, or should acknowledge their unchallengeability and give them the Jayapatra. How stupid it is. You are standing in front of the knowledge himself, the one from whom the knowledge is emanated, and you have the guts to tell that, okay, you need to now have a debate with me. Oh my God. Sri Narasimha Saraswati chided them, saying, what benefit would accrue to them by showing off their intellectual scholarship? Absolutely. What benefit are you going to get? What is that you're going to, what is that you're going to have? What are you trying to display? The power or the name, fame, or something like you're some great being? What use is it? So that's what he's saying here. Sri Narasimha Saraswati chided them, saying, what benefit would accrue to them by showing off their intellectual scholarship? The knowledge of Vedas and scriptures need to be imbibed and digested into integrated wisdom. into intuitive experience, fructifying in the realization of the self, the spiritual reality. Absolutely right. This is exactly what we discussed right in the beginning. What is even Narasimhadeva saying? He's saying the knowledge of Vedas and scriptures need to be imbibed. What is the most important thing you need to do? Imbibe that knowledge. When the gurus impart, first we are listening. When we listen, we have to do what are we doing? We are imbibing. Our mind is absorbing the knowledge being imparted to us. And then what are we supposed to do? We have to cogitate. We have to do Shravan, Manan and Nididhyasan. First you have to contemplate, you have to meditate on that, and then you have to go in silence to experience the truth. That is what is very important. Then what happens? Fructifying in the realization of the self. Imbibed and digested into integrated wisdom. Imbibed and digested into integrated wisdom. Digested means what? First you are imbibing. Once you imbibe, it has to digest into integrated wisdom. It has to integrate with your wisdom. See, you might have certain wisdom with yourself, but this real knowledge which is coming to you, it has to be integrated. It has to, become one with the wisdom, and then you will try to understand the truth. Slowly, your way of looking at things, your way of understanding the same things will change. And that is why that integration of the knowledge with the wisdom is extremely important. And then what happens? Into intuitive experience. Intuitive experience. Then you get a direct experience of that lesson. What does that mean? Intuitive. It's not something which is like an intuition. You can't describe your experience. You can say this happened. See, everybody gets an experience, but your mind will say, was that my mind's creation, or really did I have an experience about it? So it'll appear like that. But when you have the grace of the Divine Lord Almighty, you will be able to understand this. So like yesterday, my Krishna Guruji was telling, how does the experience happens? How does it happen? It happens in a very subtle form. You can't experience any of this truth with your physical, this gross body. It happens with this subtle body. And I'll tell you a very beautiful example and something that really happened. We learnt about Trivikrama Bharati, right? How Guru Nath taught him. He gave him the Vishwarupa Darshan. Why? Because Trivikrama Bharati was worshipping Lord Narsimha. Now, when he closed his eyes, didn't he try to meditate upon Lord Narsimha? And then that image itself was not coming. But who is Lord Narsimha? Is Narsimha Saraswati somebody other than that? He is everything. He is an avatar. I wouldn't say avatar. He is obviously Lord Dattatreya himself. And who's Lord Dattatreya? Lord Dattatreya is none other than Krishna himself. So where is the question of him trying to go against this Divine Almighty? So Lord Narsimha is never going to come in this image. Similarly, one of my Guruji's, some disciples had come here. So once, initially, before coming to my Guruji, he was following Lord Shivji. So he would meditate, and that is the form he was very pleased with. And after coming to my Guruji, when my Guruji was teaching certain things, and see, you need to understand, my Guruji is never going to say, you should follow exactly what we follow. There is no hard and fast rule in my Guruji's word. If you like Krishna, please follow Krishna. If you like, Ganesha, go follow Ganesha. You like Shivji, go follow whoever is your Ishta. There is no binding. See, spirituality is not about binding. It's a form that appeal to you most. So that is the form you just have to keep within you. So nobody's going to tell you have to leave some god or, only worship some god. Yes, at Krishna Ashram, we are all ardent devotees of Lord Shri Krishna. So our Ishta is our Krishna alone. That is who we follow. Our Radha Krishna, that is who we follow. And our Gurudev's Gurudev is Dattatreya. So we have all gods. So we worship, we revere them. So for us, it doesn't matter. See, because for us, everything is one alone. So it's about who is your Ishta. That is the most important thing. If even in my deep sleep, if you wake me up and ask who is the Ishta, the one word that will come to me is my Krishna Ma. That's it. He is my Ishta. I will only think of him. He is my Lord Shri Krishna. So like that, everybody has the Ishta. So initially, the student had his own mind's play. It's nothing to do with him. The mind, creates havoc. That's very sad. So then one day he told my Guruji, look, I don't like to follow anything else. I only want to follow Shivji because that is what gives me peace. And then He said, okay, fine. He wrote a lengthy message to my Guruji and he explained that. So be it. My Guruji said, where am I telling you to follow any other thing? Yes, of course, if your Ishta is Shivji, please follow him. But absolutely, be devoted to Lord Shiva himself. Nobody is asking you to leave and follow any other form. He said, I can't get your form, Guruji. But where is that my Guruji is even telling that you should follow me? My Guruji will never say anything like that. On the contrary, when you understand who is your Ishta, he will re-establish your faith in that Ishta. This is the truth about my Guruji. My Guruji will never say that you should follow me or you should follow what I teach. No, it is a choice that you have. You can follow whosoever you want. That is your choice. It's not my Guruji who imposes anything like that. If you take every other material worldly gurus, they will impose upon you. But whereas my Guruji, the real masters, even here, Narasimha Saraswati is never telling you have to follow this or follow that. He is only going to teach a certain aspect for which he is come. In this case, Narasimha Saraswati is there to, re-establish the sannyasashrama and teaching the people how you have to get into sannyasashrama dharma. That is all he is coming here. So likewise, my Guruji, my Krishna Guruji is a proper, we propagate. He only teaches the path of bhakti, love and devotion to the divine. There is nothing else he teaches. We propagate only the bhakti path. So that is exactly who my Krishna Guruji is, the epitome of love. He is the love incarnate. That is who he is. So that is all he is going to teach. So coming back, when this happened and many months went by and this person recently established his own venture, he was doing something very beautiful. It is very pleasing. And when he was inaugurating and there was a puja to be performed, and when the Pandit ji was performing that puja, he said, whoever is your Ishta, remember that divine being and then offer your prayers to him. And when he closed his eyes and trying to remember Lord Shiva or somebody, whoever his Ishta was, he was not able to get that image. Instead, my Guruji's image is all he could get. This is the truth. So you don't mess with the divine beings. This is how they are being given the knowledge. This is how they are being taught. But did my Guruji go do anything? No. That is how, likewise, when Trivikrama Bharati was trying to meditate upon Lord Narasimha, whose image appeared there? Narasimha Saraswati Devas. Why? Because he insulted him, saying that I don't believe in you. All the things. So you cannot do that to a divine master. Don't use your ignorance and your yardstick to judge somebody. Try to learn. See, understand, you are all ignorant being. But when you have the grace of this divine master, why are you questioning the divine master? You need to be humble and most important, learn. Learning is a very important aspect. So first get that experience, get that knowledge, and then you can evolve. That was only to give them a teaching. And this is not done by my Gurudev. Who does it? His universe. His Ashtasiddhis are working. So in everybody's life, please remember, my Guruji doesn't do anything. You need to understand, when you speak in front of a divine master, be very careful what you're saying, what your thoughts are, even what is going on in your mind, because his universe is listening. Even the unsaid, untold words is being listened. So be very good. Do not do any mistake and for which you are going to repent. The Guru or the divine being themselves do not do anything. Please remember this. So coming back, the knowledge of Vedas and scriptures need to be imbibed and digested into integrated wisdom, into intuitive experience, fructifying in the realization of self. That experience, when you get that intuitive experience, which will then lead to the next step is fructifying in the realization of the self. And that is the final fructification of realizing, that is God realization, or we say self-realization. Understanding the truth about who God is. And then the spiritual reality, which is nothing but that is the spiritual reality. That is why this knowledge has to be imbibed. That is the purpose of this Vedic knowledge, not for anything else. He cited the instances of Ravana, Banasura, etc., who were all well versed and proficient in Vedic lore, but which made them highly conceited and egoistic. We already discussed the story about Ravana. What did Ravana do? Ravana, through his self-conceit, his conceit of knowledge, he got the Atmalinga. But Atmalinga cannot be with the people with conceit of knowledge, because they will misuse that power. So misusing of the power cannot happen, please remember. So no matter where there is, no matter who it is, and if there is adharma or even a little bit of that conceit, self-conceit or deceit of that knowledge, God will not reside there. That no good can happen over there, you need to understand. They might be the greatest of the devotees of the Lord, and they might have even mastered the Vedas. It doesn't mean anything. This is the truth you need to understand. You cannot have your self-conceit, and with the self-conceit, when you're sitting in front of the Divine Master, don't even make a fool of yourself or tell your mind to shut up, because then it is putting you into the gutters and you need to control your mind. You cannot have this kind of self-conceit. So that why are these stories told to us? So that we understand the nature of, not just the nature of the Guru Charitra. Every day I keep saying this. The nature of the divine being, the Guru, the real master, and most important, what to do, what not to do as a disciple, and how to evolve on the path of spirituality. So what happens? He cited the instances of Ravana and Banasura, etc., who were all well versed and proficient in Vedic lore, but which made them highly conceited and egoistic. And what was the result? It led only to the total ruin and destruction along with their clan. Lanka was completely destroyed, burnt away. What happens? This is what happens. So what happened to Banasura? He burned himself. He died. He became, immediately he died. So you can't have this kind of self-conceit. And who blesses them with all this power? The gods bless them. They do all this tapascharya. They, when Ravana, did this severe, he shook up the, Kailash. He tried to lift the Kailash. He literally shook Shivji up, right? And then with his bhakti, with his power of Vedas, he won Shivji's heart, his grace, and got the Atmalinga. But everything is with the conceit of knowledge. That is not correct. Knowledge is not there to do adharma. Knowledge is there to dharma. So what happens to people who are misusing that power? They will be destroyed. That entire clan was destroyed and came to an end. So this is what will happen with you. This is not with Ravana. Ravana is just a story narrated so that we human minds can understand the truth behind this Ravana. And Ravana is the 10-headed monster. And who is this 10-headed monster? All our tendencies, arrogance, ego, you name it, everything is that monster within us. So we have to kill the Ravana, who is the egoistic knowledge within us, whose self-conceit, that is Ravana within us. So kill this Ravana and Banasura within you. That is the spiritual reality. The Vedic knowledge is not for earthly conquests and for winning applause from people. The knowledge should be put to use for the conquest of one's senses and ego, and to realize the all-pervading divine and spiritual reality. All the loving, well-meant advice of Guru Nath fell into deaf ears. This is what happens when the Guru is, in the nice manner explaining to you. We give in to our ego and arrogance and pride. Then what happens? It falls into deaf ears. But who is ruling you within you right now? The Ravana and Banasuras of the world. It did not change the minds of the Pandits, whose hearts were deeply set on winning worldly acclaim for their scholarship. Don't go for this empty scholarship and empty medals, gold. It doesn't matter. The real gold medal, the real medal will come the day you perfect in the path of spiritual. When you attain your spiritual perfection, that is the day you will have really achieved that the prize, the priceless possession, not possession, the medal is that you would have become that Paras money yourself, which is it's the most profound, that's the stone which turns everything else to gold. That is who you would have become. You don't need that gold medal. You will become the one who can convert this entire universe into gold. So become that. That is what you have to aspire for. So I think we end the chapter here. We'll see what happens in the next chapter. It's a very interesting subject, and we'll see how these Pandits are brought down to their knees by Narasimha Saraswati Deva. He is going to destroy their ego, arrogance, and all the self-conceit. You cannot make fool of yourself by demonstrating the spiritual knowledge. The Vedas and Shastras. You cannot disrespect Ma Saraswati. The Vedas is Lord Shri Krishna himself. Never take it very lightly. Don't disregard the truth. So with us, we end the 25th chapter of Sri Guru Charitra, describing the vain, glorious and conceited Pandits. Glory to the all-merciful, the omnipresent and the ever-responsive Guru Nath. So thank you for joining Sri Guru Charitra Parayan. Have a wonderful Monday and week ahead. See you all tomorrow at 9:15. Because tomorrow is Tuesday, we'll start our satsang at 9:15 a.m. Om Shri Mahaganapate Namaha. Om Shri Gurudev Datta. Om Shri Sachidananda Sadguru Sainath Maharaj Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Digambara Digambara Shripad Vallabha Digambara. Om Shri Krishna Guru Nath Nathaya Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Devi Durgaya Namaha. Om Shri Krishna Arpanam Namastu. Krishnam Vande Jagat Guru.